to bet on esports events. You know your way around a competitive gaming scene and are willing to take a risk? Watch regular broadcasts and earn real money. esportsbets.com. Foresight, passion, and calculation.
Starladder falls! Lakewood are doing it! They're gonna take! He's gonna bring down Bernie! Alone with a double kill! Dropping fast! Final points there! He's still alive! Wait, oh, second slide! He's got one side! He's got a second! He's taking it! Oh my god! On three! They're all dead!
Well. Fancy seeing you again here, avid Starladder viewers. We've got our last and second game of the day. Only 2 matches today, but boy, do we have a good one coming up. This is the Clash of the Titans, the big kahuna, if you will. Team Titan versus First Departure. I'm Zyori, joined once again by Blaze. Blaze, before we hop into this draft, I want to say one thing. In the Studio returns today. I forgot to say it after the first one. And how long is it now? Like 8 hours? In the Studio Season 2 comes back. We made the announcement yesterday. It'll be on the BTS channel, but some shameless self-promotion here. Blaze, give us the dirty. What's going on, Titan versus First Departure? Who are your rares on?
That's a tough one. Given the stand-ins and given the state of the teams, I would have to say Titan are pretty easy to say they have the advantage. Obviously, it depends on the odds. Like, if it was 80-20, I actually might go a little YOLO on First Departure here, but it's a tough one. It definitely is, because Titan is just... they always seem to be one of those unbreakable teams, but... to the advantage of Miracle, of course, he knows them pretty well. He played on Titan's roster for a significant period of time before being replaced by Yamate, and I guess that goes both ways. They know his playstyle as well as he plays theirs, so they're not going to give him the Naga Siren, for example. That one's taken off the table, and yeah, it just comes down to kind of the style that they bring to this draft. Already we're seeing some pretty insane picks here. The Lycan Tide combo from Titan, and even the Elder Titan Brewmaster, which, although it requires a lot of coordination for a team that doesn't play together officially, it is a pretty interesting hero pickup.
Yeah, and we'll get to see a first pick Lycan. That was the one that Titan snatched right out of the gate, and it's not interesting in the context of Lycan is still a good hero, but he has been that one hero that is always banned. You know, we've seen the Void, we've seen some Doom, Razor, and this mix of those top 6 heroes consistently banned out. But Lycan is that one that stands apart, who is very seldom picked and very frequently banned, at least in the context of the opening of Starladder SEA. But we'll get to see Titan use Lycan, and on Dire no less. That's where he really shines.
Yeah, I think there's merits to both sides, but the Dire Lycan will be able to control Roshan much more effectively, and that'll be quite problematic. Dire Tidehunter as well will be able to stack Ancients and clobber those down very easily, so he's going to have gold momentum behind him. He's going to get mechanisms and Blink Daggers and Arcane Boots, and he should be pretty well saturated in his item progression within the first 20 minutes of the game, just because of how much gold you can get out of the push from Lycan, the Roche from Lycan, and of course his own selfish gains there on the Ancient Cap. So he's going to have a lot of momentum behind him on the side of Ohio, I believe, and then yeah, it's going to be on First Departure to really get kill momentum behind them. They do have some good, decent tools to deal with the Lycan as far as his offensive principles there. He can go with the Drunken Haze to nullify some of Lycan's auto attack damage until he goes for a BKB. And then the Elder Titan, of course, he is a really good hero for shutting things down, whether he tries to shut down a Roche attempt with a couple of his major abilities, or he tries to shut down a push by using that counter push and perhaps setting something up for his team. We'll see.
Yeah, it could potentially be an Ember Spirit coming out of First Departure here. We've seen that combo quite a bit. You have this setup with the Elder Titan. Well, they kind of set up for each other, but the Searing Chains, and then you can connect with pretty easy sleeps, and then once they're in sleepy time, you hit them with the Earth Splitter, and oh man, it gets dirty. It's just a combo that a lot of the Eastern teams in particular seem to run a lot more than the West, but time will tell. We haven't seen a lot of picking couplet Elder Titan, so it makes me wonder if First Departure just have a trick up their sleeve perhaps, or at the very least draft some setup for the big offlaner there.
Yeah, you have to pick up something that'll synergize well with it. Otherwise, it feels like a wasted pick. But it's also one that Titan respect a lot as well. Patch after Elder Titan was banned, Titan picked it up majority of their games, honestly, still. And some of that is to what people call pick rot, which is pros still kind of feel they're strong even though they're not, and they're weakened, and they don't really give credence to the nerfs there. But Titans still incorporate it as a core aspect of their strategies. They got familiar with it, so I'm sure they also know how to counterplay it to a decent degree.
Yeah.
They are also running one stand-in here. Ben is going to be standing in for Titan, while Roshan or Swoop 2 is going to be standing in on behalf of Dafa. So KOXY and Dafa both not here, and we'll have to see exactly what they bring to the table as those wild cards as well.
Yeah. Now, Shadow Demon, the third pick for first departure, and this is a combo that counters one hero in particular, and that is the Morphling. Elder Titan, Shadow Demon, it's disgusting. You hit him with a disruption, pop back out, and then he gets natural order on him, and that mitigates pretty much all of his armor because Morphling has a lot of base agility, and that's what natural order is really good at dealing with. But then the Morphling illusions, they are not victim to the natural order. So those Morphling illusions become particularly potent, and I've seen a few turnarounds where a Morphling just melts under the pressure of these two heroes. But not just isolated to Morphling, that combo still works well just in general for setup. You've got the Soul Catcher on top of that, and that just synergizes so well with the natural order, and another tool to try and deal perhaps with this Lycan. Also, Demonic Purge, not a bad ability to try and slow down Big Wolfie.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing the Morphling here, but it really comes down to what Ben is capable of playing. And Yamate generally likes to take the Lycan solo mid and get 1 point in Howl at level 1. So that's going to be his prerogative, and of course that would leave the safe lane farmer to just be somebody who can take advantage of momentum, who can really use the gold and put it to work. And Morphling's not a bad hero in that respect, but he is pretty well counterpicked, as you clearly stated. So I would say like going for something closer to a hero that doesn't really worry about his positioning as much. Maybe some long-range capability would be good. We're going to see First Departure pick up the Gyrocopter here, and that's pretty interesting in its own right. But really what they seem to be drafting is this huge AoE combo. You get down the call down, or you get down the Echo Stomp one way or another, and when you drop down that Earth Splitter and get your natural order in position, the entire intention is for Gyrocopter to just absolutely wreck face. Now, I'll just go for some hardcore theory crafting because that's what I love so much. But I actually created a strategy that worked a couple times in mid-level pubs, Captain's Mode games, where you actually add a Bloodseeker to this. And you set it up with Elder Titan, the Gyrocopter pops his call down in flat cannon, and then you immediately Blood Rage him, and his damage just becomes insane. But yeah, I don't know if that's something that could even remotely work on a professional level. We'll have to see what First Departure follows through with.
Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting. It takes a lot of coordination to pull off, and certainly in the realm of possibilities for First Departure. But that is a pocket strat if I've ever heard one, Blaze. Wow. But Titan will think about it here and decide what they want. They did third pick the Visage, another hero we haven't seen a lot of, but he's still pretty damn good. He's been nerfed a fair bit all around, but still very pesky with those familiars. And we've seen him paired mostly with Dro Ranger recently. The aura paired with the familiars just makes them irritating as hell to deal with. I don't know that Titan will be picking up Dro with their final pick, but anytime there's a Visage, I think that's an option you have to consider. It will be a fourth pick Witch Doctor. So back-to-back Witch Doctor games. What are the chances we'll see a Witch Doctor as impressive as we did in Game 1?
I'd actually almost say that the chances are better the draft-wise in this situation because there really aren't that many hard stuns. There's the Disruption, there is the Echo Stomp, but the Echo Stomp and the Homing Missile are both delayed, and I really don't see that happening here. Looks like First Departure are going to go for one more supportive pick, unless the ET support comes out again. That was a really old-school thing when Crystal Maiden was very popular, but I expect it to be a Brewmaster mid, Elder Titan offlane, Gyrocopter, supported by Shadow Demon, and then they need one more support in their arsenals. So they're pretty afraid of the Extinct Visage, the Net Witch Doctor, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure what they can really bring here that'll put out that much more pressure. Like, they have some level of control, but they need a hard stun. They desperately do. And I'm not sure if that's going to be, if they just want to go for like the lockdown aspect, which is Disruptor, and he can kind of cage in the Lycan when he goes into Shapeshift, or you're actually looking for just a real firm disable, like a Vengeful Spirit or something of that nature.
If they wanted to do the support Elder Titan, The offlane Clockwork is still an option. I still think Clockwork is a very good hero in context of dealing with the Witch Doctor. If he sits back, if he's not your core initiator, since they have a Brewmaster and an ET, they have other ways to get fights started. And if he can sit back a little more once the Death Ward comes out, try and focus down the Witch Doctor, even if you don't hit him with the ultimate, the Battery Assault makes for pretty easy interrupts. And there you go. It seems to be exactly what First Departure will do.
It's a very nice call, man. That's very effective for what they're looking for. The Disruption and the Cogs will both set up the stomps, and yeah, Elder Titan in this supportive role set can definitely make things happen here. The Shadow Demon is going to provide the initiation, and I think that actually Gyrocopter might consider a point in Rocket just to kind of follow through. You go the homing missile first, then the Disruption, and from there ET and Gyro can just right-click away, and it could be to great effect. I'm curious if Titan are going to go for the aggro try and put Tide on the safe, or they're just going to take advantage of the Ancients and kind of play it a little more passively. One thing you were talking about a little bit earlier was the Drow and Visage combo, but Lycan Visage is still pretty strong in its own right. The Howl does affect the Familiars, so that 0.4 base attack time, it essentially Howl applies 2.5-fold to these guys, and they just absolutely destroy a single target. So it could be problematic if the Clockwork goes a little bit too on the front line and thinks maybe like a Blade Mail or something will save him. When the Familiars just shrug that one off, they go and just pound away. The final pickup here, though, is going to be Juggernaut. A lot of healing potential with the Voodoo Restoration and the Healing Ward, percent and static-based regen. And this will keep them in the fights for quite some time, though it is in part countered by the Demonic Purge.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The Demonic Purge. Have you ever seen a competitive game where a Shadow Demon ends up getting an Ag Scepter for the charge-based Demonic Purge?
Not in a competitive game. Hell, I've played Shadow Demon all the time, and I've only gotten it once, maybe twice. Yeah. I can't even remember.
That's one of the sillier Ags upgrades. I don't know what made me think of it just there, but I forgot they added that one. It's definitely one of the more... It's like the most luxury and one of the least useful. I think it's
true. It's true.
When I first asked Gods about it, I think his point was mostly, when was the last time you heard somebody say, "And that was an epic Demonic Purge"? Exactly. And it's like, point taken, point well taken. Not to underestimate or not to underrate the value of the spell, but yeah, a funky one. Not one of those value Ags upgrades. Probably about on par with the classic Puck Ags upgrade.
No, I think it's a little better than that. You can at least screw with a Lifestealer or diffuse an Omni Knight's ultimate a little bit more effectively with the two charges there. But
that's true. Okay. All right, it's better than Pucks, but that still sets the bar pretty low, I suppose.
Yeah, very, very low bar.
Well, all right, let's introduce some rosters here and see what's going on. We do have a couple stand-ins, as we mentioned in the draft. On the Dire side, we've got Team Titan. It will be Ohio headed to the off lane on the Watermelon Tidehunter. In the mid lane, it looks like it will be Yamate NWP on the Solo Lycan, and that gives us a safe lane try. Here in the stead of KYXY will be on the Juggernaut. We could actually see an early skirmish breakout. First Departure, very aggressive here. They find Net, who is on the Witch Doctor. He's on the other side of the tree line. They ping it out, but of course they will have to dive the tower to get to him. It is Extinct on the Visage, who will be the third wheel here in this safe lane try. First Departure will not find the initiation they're looking for, and with that it looks like they will just scurry their way through the river and rotate towards the mid.
Yeah, they really wanted that first blood, though. They've got boots first on Miracle and on Lubby. They were looking to move in and just find an opening. And if the Witch Doctor had gone just the wrong path, if he had tried to juke in the wrong tree line, then that Tango actually would have set up the initial disruption, which most likely would have caught him in the trees, actually. The disruption illusion spawning on either side. So Lubby goes for a play that just doesn't happen, but outside of tower range, there's absolutely no risk. So they go back to their passivity. Ohio going to be on off-laning, and since we are looking at him, we do see that he's boots first with 6 tangos. He's going to be pretty well set up in that off lane. But yeah, we haven't gotten a chance to introduce the lanes for First Departure, so I'll look at that real quick. Lubby is going to be running on that Shadow Demon supporting Miracle, who is that boots first Gyrocopter himself. We do see Kai down here as well, but he really hasn't found a home just yet. He's got the double damage rune for the past 15 seconds and looks to go for a slow rotation under the guise of the Observer Ward on the Dire side. Nice sentry, though, blocking out the Ancient stack. Anyways, we're going to be looking at KS running the solo mid Brewmaster. A decent matchup against Yamate's Lycan, but that Howl plus Quelling Blade is still very difficult to avoid. On the top lane, Roshan or Swoop 2 already getting some good right clicks on a Net. Favorable trades here. What is Net doing? And along with that, the Cogs hit on 2 heroes as well. So already in a pretty fortified position here on the top lane and looking to at least be one of the few that will edge out on the early stage with good experience.
Roshan indeed. All right. Well, we'll see how it works out. Ohio actually taking a lot of right clicks here. Miracle presses forward. There's a rocket barrage, and this could be your first blood. Ohio really underestimates that early burst damage of a gyrocopter if there's no creeps nearby, and he concedes a pretty unnecessary first blood. That Miracle will just walk away with that one, saying, well, thanks, buddy. That easy button.
I don't think he checked his inventory. I think that he figured that Miracle is going to be slower, and Gyrocopter is all about movement speed and getting in the right position for that early damage rocket barrage. So the fact that he had boots, if that wasn't detected by Ohio, then that was the mistake that just cost him his life.
Yeah, very possibly. He had a lot of time in lane to scout it out and see what was going on, but yeah, perhaps. Ohio will try and stack the Ancients here, and of course he will be disappointed as it has been appropriately warded here. Smart play, as this is how a Tidehunter likes to find his recovery. Utilize that Anchor Smash to its fullest potential. Tide still has not found any experience. 0 out of 200, of course, no last hits. And that is the big disparity so far. Yamate in the mid lane will have to hold that thought as he takes a Thunderclap and a lot of damage here. KS almost brings him down. I don't know if that was luck or Yamate knowing his limitations, but one more hit would have been a certain death.
Yeah, and of course there's some RNG there with the Drunken Brawler, so limitations or not, there was real kill potential if KS just got a little more lucky. In either case, he'll get another clap, some more right clicks coming in, but Yamate will answer back. He's bottle crowing right now. He knows he has some sustain coming once the courier gets upgraded there, and yeah. In the meantime, he was kind of despondent the fact that although he sent Wolves and a Tidehunter down to the bottom rune, it spawned top right into the Clockwork's hands. So no rune spawn for him, and he just is having a little bit more difficulty dueling out with the Brew.
Yep, and Roshan in the top lane finding a little better farm than Tide. Of course, that's not really saying much here. Ohio, he's noticed that it hasn't stacked now. He tries to stack it a third time. We see it pinged out, and he will have to fly down a sentry, or at least ask one of the supports to bring a sentry down, as he is pretty broke right now. He can afford one set of sentries, but may try to leave it to the supports and help him out a little bit. Once again, Net and Roshan exchanging some blows, but Roshan's still trying to find himself in experience range. Aside from that first blood, a rather passive laning phase so far, and I think that's good news for FD, as they do have this Elder Titan in the jungle, and he doesn't bring a huge amount to the table in these early levels. He's one of those, if he's in the support role, really needs to find some of that early experience, and the more time they give him in the jungle, the better it is for first departure, I think.
Yeah. Oh, a couple things I want to talk about is Creequilibrium control right now. Kai's been doing a great job of timing his pulls, doubling them up, never letting the lane push out, and obviously that's been forcing the Tidehunter back away from the lane. Now he has to actually go for the actual jungle, not the ancient jungle, but just the dire one, and he's really still running on 0 experience. They've been controlling the lane very effectively. He didn't see any creeps die, and along with that, Miracle has been getting a ton of farm. 22 for 6 as far as CS goes. Hasted Tidehunter really isn't going to accomplish too much on the mid, but yeah, and the Juggernaut's only right now 19 for 7. Obviously annoyed a little bit by the Clockwork's presence on the lane.
Yeah. And about a 5 last hit disparity between Ben and Miracle, so not a huge difference, but still the Gyrocopter is in the lead. We'll see the Hasted Tide come in and try and leech, pardon me, some experience, and finds, well, 71 out of the 200, well on his way to level 2, I guess. Slow going for the Tide, but every little bit counts at this stage in the game. Brewmaster now is level 6, so he has the Primal Split, and no value point in Drunken Haze. I guess with the Wolves, they do a lot of the last hitting, so it's not so great against Lycan, but maybe that value point will come in handy a little bit later. He'll go in on Yamate, and no level 6 on the Wolf. That will be a Primal Split, and this very well could be a kill on the Lycan. Yamate one creep kill away, and he'll get it, but just not enough. That was one of those great reads from KS where he had that small experience edge, and in this situation, that level 6 difference proved enough for a kill.
They're also searching for Ohio in the trees down on bottom. He's just trying to stay in range for this melee wave that comes down on the tower. So that's going to work out unless the Elder Titan Spirit scouts him out. But for now, they're looking at the wrong area. They finally see him. Can they go for the offensive play, though? It doesn't look like it. So he'll pull the wave back, and Ohio finally finds level 2.5. But they're still putting lots of damage to this tower. There are 4 committed down bottom as they got the kill in mid. Brewmaster says, okay, I can't really do much more there. But as he leaves the lane, Yamate will put some damage in turn, forcing the Fortify here at the 6-minute mark. Damage on Net. Oh, the Soul Catcher hits him too.
Yeah, Soul Catcher indeed. There's the sleep to set it up. Out comes the Shadow Poison. That's more than enough to bring him down, and Lubby will secure the kill. Miracle cleans up the creep wave, complements of the rocket barrage, and now this tower will be fair game. Clockwork has rotated towards the mid, and trying to mitigate the damage that Yamate can do. He'll now commit to the tower with the wolves. Bottom tier 1 falls. Even if Yamate keeps chipping away at this tower, he won't do more than maybe a third HP before First Departure will be able to make a rotation and come back and make a defense. So there we go, 3-0. Already a tower down, and that'll secure a 2,000 experience, 3,000 gold lead for our Radiant side. Miracle with phase boots and 2,500 gold before finding level 6 here at the 6-minute mark.
Mid lane, Yamate got hit by the clockwork just a little bit here, and now the Invis Brewmaster is looking to open up on him. Gets the crit out the gate with that passive and is just trying to finish him off with one more lucky crit. It's not going to come, though, but lots of damage, battering him back and causing him some real grief. I mean, that opening when he knew the Lycan was level 5 already set him back quite substantially, and now Yamate really hasn't bounced back. The great rotation of clockwork, making sure that the tower in mid did not take too much damage in the interim while they push bottom, just gives this massive advantage to First Departure, and this is something you need against the Lycan if you want to contest Roche.
Yeah, definitely. The more you can keep him down and keep that pressure, especially with the Brewmaster getting some momentum. Now that he found an early kill and he's been moving around, he'll have a pretty well-timed Blink Dagger, and that just makes it a lot easier to contest Roche when Brew is nice and beefy and can hop in, instead of vice versa. When your Brew kind of falls behind, he doesn't pack that same level of punch. Now, I thought Miracle may consider going for a Hand of Midas here, but he'll just go straight into the Drum of Endurance after the phase boot. So wants to go for more of a fighting build, tank up a little bit, and be more involved earlier on. Juggernaut as well. Let's see what build he's going for. Courier will deliver just a bracer. So he'll do a pretty comparable build, phase boots into the poor man's shield, and presumably into a drum, just holding on to a bracer for now.
Yeah,
of course,
but there's
go ahead.
This huge disparity between how fast they're farming. Like, first it seemed only like 5 CS, but now Miracle finding a stack of neutrals in his own jungle and clearing that out with Flak and Call Down, getting the last hit on that tower, and of course the first blood. Like, these little things add up very quickly, and if we look at the net worth, it's very different. I mean, going from 3,000 to 4,300 as far as that gold value, it's everything that's Juggernaut wants to start working towards. Miracle's already there. He has the drum. He's building up BKB now, and he is going to be in fighting form very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought the Juggernaut may try to go for like a Midas and then Russian Ags and something like that, and go for more of a kind of utility is not the right word, but the Ags-based Juggernaut build and get a more aggressive early on. Oh, in the mid lane, yeah, Net will be in some trouble, and he may actually survive. No, never mind. Lovey will finish him off with that one last tick of poison, and they'll get another kill, making it 4-0. But I thought they may try and look for that window before the Gyro is really online and scary, and the Juggernaut can run around and find some kills, utilize the Healing Ward. But it seems like they'll go for a similar level of farming build, and I think Gyro just kind of out-carries the Juggernaut. And I worry about this mid-game with Titan. This is starting to look scary already. We're only 9 minutes in, but FD are picking up a lot of momentum, and so far there's no sign of that turning around. We see a 4-hero rotation towards this Tier 1 mid, and Titan, they'll just let it fall. They have absolutely no desire to take a fight here.
Yeah, and knowing that they have the mid to late game potential, First Departure aren't even like bothering with any set fallback builds. Like, they're not going for Hands of Midas, or just going on the full offensive, and I think this is the way to play it. When you keep Roshan under your control by taking all these towers, when you can already be active to respond to the Lycan push while gaining momentum yourselves, that's just huge. Now we see the Primal Split popped off on Extinct, and he's dead. Like, no way to TP out of this, no way to survive. The last right click from the Fire Panda, and he's completely gone. And meanwhile, bottom lane, Yamate will finish off the tower, but Miracle's here to clean up the farm subsequently. So it is still a win, but actually Net's still taking damage. Chaos, if he had some mana, could actually probably bring him down, but without it, he'll just back off. And
I'm a little bit surprised that First Departure weren't more aggressive there. They got Net down to half health, and there were a lot of FD heroes nearby with full health, full mana. Elder Titan was standing right there, and Lovey with his entire rotation still around. With a level 3 Soul Catcher, that could have been pretty close to a kill on the Witch Doctor. They'll give him a pass this time. They'll settle for a Tier 1 for Tier 1 exchange, as it is still 5-0. 3,000 gold, 2,000 experience. Still the lead for First Departure. Yamate, what's in his inventory? Just Basilius Brown Boots, undoubtedly pulling up that gold for a Vladimir's offering so that he can farm a bit more effectively, and of course, solo Roshan. That is that core item he needs to make that a possibility. He will move into the Tier 2 down bottom, but once again, Miracle comes down and will make the defense. No value point in Homing Missile. You were mentioning that might be an option here, but Miracle just going for the Rocket Barrage Flat Cannon.
Yeah, they definitely didn't need it to keep control of the Tidehunter, though. With that mistake that Ohio made early, it made it completely unnecessary to force him back because Gyrocopter was building up that movement speed advantage. I mean, he outright rushed phase, but it's nothing else in his inventory but the blue booties there, and he was able to just, with that movement speed advantage, say, okay, I don't even need to worry about killing off an offlaner. He's just in this position where until like a Lincoln Sphere comes out, which it shouldn't this game for many of Titan's heroes, that's the only reason you would actually skill it before like level 22.
Level 22 indeed. Clockwork here will go his first item into the Vanguard. Usually an item not particularly fond of. Clockwork is one of those kind of coin flip heroes where occasionally it is the right choice. And all of the summons from Lycan and the summons from Visage as well. Vanguard really shines against physical attacks that are relatively low in damage but very frequent in their intervals, and that's something that the summons do bring to the table. So I think Vanguard makes some extra sense here, and also Clockwork is kind of their initiator. Sure, they'll have a Blink Dagger on Brew and he can play that role as well, but they want this Clockwork to be able to hop in and take a lot of damage and not have to worry about taking a tumble. And with that Vanguard and the Belt of Strength, he's up to 1,300 hit points, and that's pretty darn tanky for only at the 12-minute mark.
Yeah, raw HP durability is going to be really nice, damage blocking the Familiars and the Wolves. Speaking of Familiars, Extinct is only level 5, so that's not going to be available for this next skirmish if they go for it. Ravage plus Soul Assumption should be able to pick off one hero really quickly, but as you mentioned, that Clockwork's pretty tanky. The Gyrocopter's farmed up.
There's a Death Ward, too. So maybe with the Death Ward Ravage, there's a chance for a hold here from Titan. But if they can't take at least a break-even team fight here, then the next few minutes of this match will be very scary. Yamate is split pushing right now, pressuring the tier 1 in the mid lane, and I think First Departure need to go sooner rather than later because this Lycan is doing some work around the map.
Yep, he'll take the tier 1. They really want this tier 2, but it's going to be Brewmaster to jump in, and the Ravage only hits on him. Primal Split still gets off.
Wow, that was an awkward way for the Dire side to try and take this fight. Now the Demonic Purge comes out onto the Juggernaut. He will use the spin, but very defensively. Titan completely on the back foot here. Yamate not pushing in the mid. He will rotate towards top. Brew just completely zoning out this Dire team pretty much by himself, and that opens up space for the rest of his team to finish off the tower, and that'll be it. No hero kills, but First Departure find a free tower in exchange for a Primal Split cooldown.
Yeah, I mean, if the Ravage was enough to kill off KS before we got the split off, that would be a completely different story. They could just charge in, not worrying about the Panda, the biggest team fight aspect that FD have right now. But because he just narrowly got it off with a little bit of HP to spare, because of that extra point booster, effective health, that really just turned it completely against them. They still had to face the Pandas. They didn't have their major cooldown, and they essentially just ceded that tower, a tier 1 for a tier 2, and a very important one at that. Again, Roche is the emphasis for Lycan, and not only has he not had a chance to move towards it just yet, but now they can't even reinforce it if it is contested.
Yeah, you're right, and there's only one access point left to try and contest the Roche pit, and it's this tier 2 tower in the mid lane. And they're particularly important because part of that Dire advantage is, okay, you maybe take an unfavorable exchange around the Roche pit. You have your buyback. You can TP right in next to the pit. You don't have to go across the river. But if you lose all those towers, you lose that access point. And keeping your Lycan safe is much more difficult. Also, First Departure have the Clockwork, so they have a long-range scouting tool to move into the pit. And right away, you see the rotation. There's the Rocket Flare. They have clear eyes on what's happening. But they'll have to move in pretty quick. Medallion will mean Roche falls very fast. They will contest it, but they won't get here in time. Titan will secure the Roche kill, and oh, Roshan hops in just to, he snatches the Aegis! Dire get the kill, but he gets the Aegis! Oh no! Now the fight will break out. First Departure with a lot of AoE damage here. It will proc the Aegis. KS right in the middle of the fray. Does he have a Primal Split? No, he does not. 20 seconds down. They get the kill on the Visage. Now it's Ohio taking a lot of damage. Miracle laying into him with the Rocket Barrage and the Flat Cannon. A double kill comes out as the tide falls. Net on the run. KS looking to be aggressive. Yamate will summon some wolves, and KS might need to be actually a little careful here. Kai off to the side will get picked off by an Omni Slash from Ben as he gets totally isolated. Not the best fight from First Departure, but snatching the Aegis. The big plays coming out from Roshan. What an appropriate name for a play like that. Cheese and crackers, Blaze.
Yeah, and combining that together with you got the clap onto 4, they got them all in the cogs. That was like a perfect spot if Miracle had the flat cannon available, but he was just killing off Extinct on the side because the flat cannon was still on cooldown for about 5 more seconds there. So he does one, then takes the other. They still take a huge gain out of that fight, though. If we look at the graphs, actually, like, it could have been extremely favorable for Titan moving forward, getting the kill on Roche. That should have been what put them back in the game, but instead, pretty much status quo. Like, we do see Titan dropping All right, we do see that First Departure lose a tiny bit of their gain, but even still, like that's a pretty huge pickoff.
Yeah, that's one of those engagements right there that the graph just doesn't reflect that what happened there appropriately. You look at the graph and you're like, oh, okay, Titan still got a nice little gold experience boost that helps level things out, but not really. That Aegis on Lycan is a potential game changer. It lets him be so much more aggressive, take more chances with pushing the towers and letting that Rat Dota commence. Getting the last hit is good, but yeah, that's a big deal for First Departure. Now they know they have at least like 6 or 7 minutes of time when they don't have to worry about the Roche Pit. They can pressure the towers really heavily, and straight away they go to the top lane, and at the very least, I think this Tier 1 tower will take a tumble. But we'll have a few moments to talk about it, Blaze, because Titan having some connection issues.
Yep, gonna go for some reconnect, make sure that they're ready to fight with minimal connectivity problems. And yeah, they're going to need everything that they can get because in this position, they are very much on the back foot. Miracle just picked up his Black King bar and a lifesteal component, the Morbid Mask. And in that position, like he is as good as he needs to be for this stage of the game. Like all he goes for from here is a little bit of extra damage. Finishes the Dominator and then picks up something like a Monkey King bar just to enhance his auto attack damage, enhance his flat cannon as much as possible. But we look at the other item progression, it's just a little far behind. Like, Yamate, he has his Vlads, and that's core, but at the same time, that doesn't really bring him to a point where he's that much of a threat. He'll go maybe Necro 1 next, and that'll help him do a little bit more rat plays, but that puts more reliance on their 4-man Dota, which Ben really doesn't have the farm to back up. Right now, he's at Drum, looking for his Aghanims, and he's just about halfway there.
Yeah, you know, I honestly feel like Ben should have just taken all of that Drum of Endurance Gold and just put it into a Midas because they're not having too many places to farm around the map right now, and he could at least be accelerating that farm to be closer to an Ags. And he hasn't really been in the front lines this fight. I mean, we saw him get an Omni Slash off for a solo kill. The drums didn't really help him out too much there. I can't help but feel like it's a little bit of a wasted investment for Juggernaut just because he still isn't. It doesn't really make him tanky enough to move into the front lines, and he's still just utilizing that ultimate like he would if he was doing more of that Ags primary build.
Yeah, I mean, he still likes the aspect of the mobility of the drums to prevent him from being kited when Demonic Purge isn't active on him. But yeah, there are a couple ways to look at it. I kind of look at it more like the fact that since Miracle didn't go Midas, their opposing carriers really can't afford to either because they're the ones that need to play catch-up as quickly as possible. And Midas is a long-term goal, not a very short-term one. But we're going to see a clash come through. The smoke will dispel right in front of Extinct, and he pops the split.
Yep, that's a pretty dead visage to get things started. Primal Split burned, but that means they're not done yet. They'll find Ben. Omni Slash still on cooldown for 13 seconds. He is level 11, but he's in some trouble. The defensive Blade Fury coming out, and they'll be happy with that. Just to see the Blade Fury on cooldown and not in their faces. They won't even go for the Tier 2 top. Instead, First Departure will pull a rotation and maybe just go for this Tier 2 tower here coming up in the mid lane.
Yeah, if they commit too hard to one tower, though, Lycan's going to take the bottom tier 2, and they can't afford that. So we already see Clockwork making his move there. He's the main threat to Lycan because of that hook shot, and even with the regen rune, like, they can pin him down pretty hard. So they've got tabs on him. They know what they're doing, but it might be dangerous for Clockwork here if he's not careful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yamate won't man up on it, recognizing there's a tier 2 tower down bottom. If he mans up too hard, First Departure could just TP in and pull a rotation. But in the mid lane, we'll see a Ravage connects on 3. Miracle pops his BKB before it starts, but Elder Titan gets dropped straight away. Looks like the Brewmaster will go down also. There's the Death Ward laying into Lubby. Miracle survives for now, but the BKB has expired. He's popped a drum charge, and he is on the run. He will rendezvous with the Clockwork, and well, he finds a little bit of luck right there. That's a haste rune, and secures an easy escape. Will be a 3-0, and Titan do start to regain some momentum after a pretty well-placed Ravage from Ohio.
Yeah, that was a really good Ravage. Quick fingers from Miracle keeps him out of it, but everybody else just suffers dearly, and they get torn apart. The Omni Slash plus Ravage, Death Ward, and a decent amount of damage from the Visage as well was just taking down the lower HP heroes very, very quickly. The Shadow Demon, he's got Urn, he's got some tank, but it's just not sufficient at this stage. Elder Titan's another hero that, like, he's okay stat-wise, but he's not going to be staying on the front line through all those ultis and feeling confident. KS goes in, he gets the clap off on a Yamate, 15 seconds left on the Lycan's ulti, but it looks like nobody else is going to be able to follow through.
5 seconds on the Primal Split. KS may continue to commit for this. He has a blink. There's the Drunken Haze. Split is off cooldown. 2 seconds for the Shapeshift, and no, Lycan will rendezvous with his allies here, and they will back out. Ben does now complete his Ag Scepter, so okay timing on that, about 19 minutes in. So Omni Slash will now have 9 bounces, which is pretty damn good. As I always like to go back to, it's extra damage, but it's also more time that he's invulnerable and can't be focused down. So in team fights, it's also just a very disorienting ultimate because you don't know where he's going to end. So you kind of reminds me of the Spectre ultimate in that sense, where in a team fight it just adds to the chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. So he'll be able to deal some good physical damage through that. Obviously, it doesn't really matter too much if he's like being pinned down by spells like from the Shadow Demon and such, because he can just go invulnerable. He has 9 jumps right now, so he's going to be in the air for quite some time, and he can cause some real grief with that on a short CD. It pretty much syncs pretty well with the Death Ward cooldown. 70 seconds on his and 80 seconds on the Witch Doctor's. So not too bad for some good physical damage output, but we are already seeing like the approach of some tankiness on multiple fronts. The armor is coming out from Roshan. The buckler is here. The mechanism will be following suit, and that might be enough to alleviate some of their concerns.
Yes, indeed. We still don't know what the timer is on Roche, but we'll see the RNG factor there before too long. Yamate down bottom, you mentioned he has a BKB picked up, so not the Necronomicon. Wants to go a little more team fight utility and have a chance to grab these hero kills and then punish following a successful team fight rather than commit to complete Rat Dota. He will find a tier 2 tower kill in the bottom lane, TP scroll at the ready, and will just go back to the base. So it's basically a tier 2 for tier 2 exchange. His first departure, commit to the tier 2 up top. Yamate finds one down in the bottom. So I have to give some credit to Yamate here. He's played a pretty damn good Lycan, considering Titan were off to such a rough start this game. He's found a lot of towers and places to farm and really helped his team stay in it in terms of getting them some extra resources.
Yeah, there's no other hero in the game that can contribute to the team as much as Yamate has in this capacity. Like the push on the tier 2, if any other hero tries that, even an anti-mage tries that, they're going to go in and they're going to pin him down with TPs and hook shots and all that kind of stuff. But with the BKB TP, if you hook on him, then he's suddenly immune to the effects. Like, essentially, you hook shot to get on him, he immediately pops the BKB and he's gone anyways. So he really can push without any risk to his own person, and this forces first departure to constantly make their decision. Are they playing defensively or offensively? Still, all the while, Miracle is finding farm. He did farm up a quad stack on the Ancient Cap on the Radiant side, and that has put him very close to a butterfly, as he actually only needs about, like 1,500 gold to actually finish it out.
And that is pretty scary.
Oh no, it's an E-Blade! E-Blade Gyrocopter.
Whoa!
Wasn't that something?
Whoa! You know, I was just about to comment on this is a great game for Butterfly because Titan don't really have a natural MKB carrier. Lycan can pick it up eventually, but not within his normal item trajectory. Certainly not like a third item following BKB. And Juggernaut as well. If he was going for that Battle Fury, I want to be a hard carry build. Sure, an MKB could be in his sights, but Ag Scepter now it'll be a while before he completes any kind of True Strike. But talk to us about the E-Blade Gyro and its usefulness. Is this good? Is this clowny? What are we looking at here?
It does seem a little silly because his damage from magical sources, Rocket Barrage, and Call Down aren't that substantial, and the follow-up from others isn't that impactful either. But it might be kind of a build-up type thing. You can still disassemble Ethereal Blade. So in this position, maybe he just wants the Ghost Scepter aspect against the Juggernaut ultimate, and then later on he'll pick up the Butterfly. So it's interesting now because he can actually get some utility out of it, rather than just holding onto it and finishing out the Butterfly. Ghost Scepter is a really good item against Jug. I mean, I've gone Ethereal Blade Sniper just to get those YOLO assassinates, but also to avoid the Omni Slashes. But he seems really confident with this.
Yeah, we'll see initiation on the KS. He takes a Gush, but does get off the Primal Split. Tier 2 tower in the mid lane falls. It's Big Woofy. Top lane, Tier 2, taking a lot of damage. Pops the ultimate. Miracle is the first to TP in. He will go blow for blow with Yamate to get it started, but has no way to lock him in place. Shadow Demon is inbound looking for the Purge, but nope, won't have too much. Rocket flies through, and whoa, Yamate comes back. He will just TP home with the BKB on. Not enough damage to bring him down, and that'll be the end of it. He does not get the tower, though, so it ends with First Departure securing a Tier 2 for nil exchange, and they burn another BKB charge on the Lycan. That was the 10-second BKB, so another minor victory there for First Departure.
Yeah, it was a little weird, Yamate's movements, but you have to consider he didn't know where the clockwork was, tried to be unpredictable, and in the end he did have to use his BKB charge as he kind of walked right back into his allies there. But it's better than being picked off by the hook shot. And now they're going to wait for the Roche respawn, which should be coming pretty soon, within the next 10-15 seconds. Yeah,
small stroke of luck there for Titan. As we saw before, their way of dealing with First Departure's easy ability to contest is, well, let's just get a medallion and kill Roche pretty much as quickly as possible. And it half worked last time. They got the kill on Roche, but didn't get the Aegis. We'll see if First Departure can contest to an equal caliber as last time. It is a level 2 hookshot now, so we'll see. We'll see. The Familiars have scouted it out, of course, so Titan are well aware that Roche is back up, and we very well could see them smoke into the pit. Though the smoke would be unnecessary, they have complete vision control. 2 sentries have come down to make sure that there are no Radiant observers down, and they are successful in that plight. There's only 1 Radiant observer, and it is way up here in the top lane, nowhere near the Roche pit. Clockwork will scout it out with the rockets. They catch a glimpse of the Familiars, so even more intel coming about now. Both sides know Roche is online. And we won't see a fight break out there quite yet.
Yeah, not just yet. Just kind of laying the groundwork, getting their ducks in a row, having an idea of what the enemy's doing and when they're trying to accomplish things. The big thing to note here is the Aghanim's Brewmaster. Chaos going in with the double clap as well as the potential to just absolutely destroy people with the crit, Fire Panda. There's a lot to say about the Aghanim Scepter, and in general, it's the main idea is that it enhances their team fight substantially if you can use all of its little extra effects there. So really excited to see that in action, and yeah, we'll have to see what else they have going for them. Like right now, they can kind of take one hero out of the fight with like a Demonic Purge or Ethereal Blade, and they just have to really worry about the brunt force with all these ultis. The Ravage obviously was used very well with Omnislash and Death Ward the last time that there was a full 4-on-5, I suppose, and we'll see if Titan are patient enough to find those openings once again.
Smoke in the mid lane. They find Yamate. The call down will be off the mark, but hookshot connects. Now he'll be stuck in the cogs. Pops his ultimate, and BKB just goes ham on Roshan, but the mech will keep him up,
Nice.
and the Echo Stomp will keep him alive for now. Miracle pops the BKB. There's even a defensive disruption, but in comes the Tidehunter. That'll be a Ravage to secure the kill on the Clockwork. Connects on the remaining heroes. Doctor gets off a Death Ward, channels it for a little while, and does secure the kill onto the Elder Titan. Now First Departure pressing forward. The split from the Brew. Is it enough to get some kills here? It's not looking like it, actually. First Departure losing momentum in this fight. A Gush comes out onto Miracle. Now he's on the back foot. Medallion will get rid of his armor. He will get stun locked, and it looks like he will fall. Or will he? The E-Blade keeping him alive for now. There's the defensive disruption, and nope, just not enough. Miracle can't live up to his name there, as it's a 5-on-1. Even the support from the Shadow Shaman on the high ground just isn't enough. And following that successful skirmish, Titan will move straight into the Roche pit.
Yeah, I mean, in general, they had a really good set of ideas going into that one. Like, they had the initiation they wanted to an extent, and then when the Clockwork was dropping extremely low, it was actually Miracle's E-Blade that was hit on him to keep him up. He mech'd, of course, as well, but his Ghost Scepter was on cooldown, so that was a pretty cool play. The only thing is that the Ravage came through right after that. So they got the disruption, they got the E-Blade, they played all these cool abilities to keep the Clockwork alive, and then just jumps right in anyways. And the only one who's able to nullify its effects is the Gyrocopter with the BKB. So Miracle was pretty much on his own alongside the Brewmaster, and that's a 2v5 situation they just couldn't pull out. So now Titan pulling ahead quite efficiently with this Aegis pickup that they're going to put on the Juggernaut.
Yeah, Jug picks it up, and now Yamate has 4,600 gold on the Lycan. And the gold graph, only about 1,000 in favor of First Departure, but a 5,000 experience lead for Titan. It's starting to look like they can claw their way back into this game. I mean, they're already doing it. Gyrocopter has a pretty disproportionate amount of the Radiant farm. So if they can lock down Miracle or isolate him in a fight, it's pretty scary for First Departure. They have a lot of eggs in the Miracle basket right now. And yeah. Well, that's always a little bit risky, as it were. But also something First Departure are quite used to. We've seen many a game where the solo plays of Miracle on a Naga or one of his other signature heroes are enough to turn the game around. So not all hope is lost, but Titan will bring us into an interesting mid-game as things get leveled out. We see Roshan right next to net. We'll just walk up, cog him, battery assault, and Witch Doctor will just stand there. Doesn't even turn on the Voodoo Restoration. Knows that he's dead. And, well, Chaos will actually come in and live up to his name there as he snipes the last hit.
Yeah, in general, it's just been, like you said, it's been all on Miracle, and it's going to get harder for him from here on out. We've got the BKB lowering his duration every single time he uses it, so it's down to 8 seconds, and Lycan's well on his way to an Assault Cuirass, which will give the +5 armor buff on top of the Vladimirs, making it really hard for the Flat Cannon to really make a difference. The Elder Titan is a great hero for enhancing physical damage against heroes with high base armor and with very minimal bonus armor, but this is the opposite of what we're seeing here. Hell, Visage is the exact opposite of that because of Gravekeeper's Cloak. He's right now 0 + 22. You add 10 on top of that when Vlad's and AC are next to that, and he doesn't even have the max Gravekeeper's Cloak. So it's just like, I really don't feel like the Elder Titan pick is contributing enough to the damage that they expect. And although Miracle will E-Blade, he gets Diffusal, then he has to BKB to escape.
Yep, and now he's on the run. BKB on will keep him alive from the Wrath of the Blade Fury, but the rest of Titan are in hot pursuit. The BKB has expired, the Gush comes through, and that will be the end of Miracle. Now Kai gets left behind. He throws out an Earth Splitter that connects on a few, but Mech gets popped, they'll get topped off, and that will be a 2-for-0 exchange. That is the power of the Ags Juggernaut right there, and he's not even level 16, so it'll be more potent than that in moments to come. The Diffusal Blade, a smart pickup. And, of course, you can use items when you're in Omni Slash. So Ben showing us what the Juggernaut is all about and why E-Blade is not the end-all, be-all in terms of countering the Juggernaut.
Yeah, that's the counter to the counter. You take away the ethereal effect, and you get a very key pick-off. I really don't feel like they can fight at all without Miracle. And the Elder Titan will respawn. That might help delay things with the Echo Stomp. But this Tier 2 is still slated to fall.
Yeah, Miracle has a buyback, but he won't burn it for a Tier 2 tower. And only 18 seconds left. Titan will use this time to just clear out the outer towers, though. Instead of going high ground, they will just look at this Tier 2 up top. It's down below half health. They know the glyph has already been expended, so this is just an easy push away. And KS is in an interesting spot. He does get scouted and pinged out. They can attack him. He hops forward with the blink and will get off the ultimate split. Can he find a kill here? The Tier 2 tower is standing and not the ideal place for Titan to fight. Miracle's back up, and he will start throwing down cooldowns. That'll proc the Aegis to get things started. Now Net taking heavy damage as they go in on Kai, but the E-Blade once again for Miracle, just too good. Ohio with the Ravage, that helps split things up. Witch Doctor's the first to fall in, but now the Clockwork falls. Miracle standing his ground for now with the BKB on. Yamate will go blow for blow, and it'll cost him everything. Now Ben, Blade Fury TP home. He will survive, and Titan will be repelled. First departure with a huge hold right there, all because of KS starting it off, buying some time for Miracle to get back in the fight, and it ends as a 1-for-2, but they also get the Aegis.
Yeah, they actually cleaned house on that one very effectively. Even with the AC and the Vlads, it's still Miracle able to melt people and really, like you said, go blow for blow. Now he's going to build up into the Monkey King bar very soon, and or maybe the Daedalus even. No matter what, he is just able to output so much damage in these fights, and yeah, they really can't underrate him. The Ethereal Blade as well came out onto Kai, as you mentioned. That was a saving grace for him. So really just smart play. Titan underrating them, trying to fight, and not really getting the better end of it when the Ravage wasn't as impactful as the past.
Yeah, certainly so. Now it looks like Miracle is on his way to probably an MKB. He's hanging on to the Ethereal Blade for now. So he hasn't split it yet. I really thought that a Butterfly would just be such a good item here against all these right clicks. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, am I wrong here? Do you think Butterfly is this? This just screams evasion game to me.
I definitely think that Butterfly has extreme merits in this draft, like going up against the familiar right-click, and really, everybody's right-clicking to some extent. You can't evade Death Ward strikes, but that's kind of a non-factor here. So really what it comes down to is, can he use the Ethereal Blade effective enough to make it worth it by comparison? Because like we've seen a lot of good Ethereal Blade usage, and there's no doubt it's a good item, but I completely agree with you. The Butterfly has a lot to bring to the table, too. We're going to see initiation onto Lubby, and yeah, he's going down.
Yeah, Mud Golem's nearby, and it doesn't matter. Lubby just gets juiced as they smoke up. Still, of all the heroes to get picked off by a smoke, Lubby is pretty much the ideal target. He prevents bigger losses coming from his team, and end of the day, it's just a kill on the support Shadow Demon, so not a huge loss for first departure.
Yeah, Ben's in a really good position here on the Juggernaut, going very offensive with the Diffusal Blade. He's been using that very actively during Omni Slash.
Maybe he'll just go straight into MKB here.
Yeah, I mean, that could work very well and nullify any hope of a Butterfly really causing too much grief.
And also the Drunken Brawler is already here for some added incentive.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I think that's a pretty smart choice.
You can purge off the Drunken Haze with the Diffusal Blade, and that kind of helps him out a little bit there. You can also spin it off if that comes into play, but yeah, I think that even just a natural evasion of the Brewmaster is enough for him to consider the MKB, and of course, as we've been talking about, the potential for that Butterfly to come on through. So it's a good pickup on that side, but yeah, this Diffusal Blade, he might even just want to rank that up once he starts running out of charges, because he's been using it to great effect. I mean, he's up against, what, 1 Ethereal Blade and 2 Ghost Scepters right now, and pretty much every time he Omnis, he definitely has to use it. Yeah,
you're right. Down to 5 charges, but we'll see where he goes. An easy item to upgrade at this point once you build it. If you run out of charges on the level 2 Diffusal, you have to just buy a whole new one at level 1, right? You can't just keep buying recipes to reset it.
I believe you can still keep buying recipes.
Can you keep buying
but
recipes?
It's not,
That doesn't happen that often that you need that many charges. So I'm not sure of that exact mechanic.
but it doesn't, like, you don't get any increase in stats to it or anything like that.
Right.
You don't get more mana burn out of it. So it's
Simply
very
charges.
cost inefficient. Generally
Okay.
speaking, you never see it, but I think it is possible.
Okay, all right. This is one game where I feel like it might actually be a possibility if it goes on for a really long time. And
Sure.
I mean, if this goes on long enough, we could see Ghost Scepter come out on the Elder Titan for sure, and then that's 4 you have to deal with. A possibility. A gem has now been picked up by Extinct on the Visage. He's also level 11, so the familiar is becoming a little more potent here. Just glancing at vision around the map, both sides pretty blind right now. Dire have slightly better vision. They've blocked out the Radiant Ancients to prevent stacking for that Gyrocopter. A pretty smart play there, and then they've got an Observer just down in the jungle, and actually a lane ward. So the Dire not quite as blind as the Radiant. At present, first departure, only with one Observer in their jungle, and they will rotate through the Dire jungle with that smoke and put a ward down right on this high ground here. So, unfortunately for them, I have a feeling this ward will be killed off pretty much momentarily once Visage rotates his way over.
Yep, they did miss out on a hook shot to try to pin down the Lycanthrope. They have some good wards in their own jungle as well, but at most that would have just forced out another BKB charge and kind of routed him from the jungle. Not really the end of the world for the side of Titan. So, miss or hit, it's still them just trying to get back control. They use the Geometry side to clear out this Observer ward, but yeah, they are actually getting some map control back in their hands. It's interesting that Miracle actually went for the Satanic here. This is going to enable him to sustain through the fights very significantly, and just trading hits in general is going to be really strong. But it's another item that can, if very, very well timed, be counteracted by the Diffusal Blade. You can actually purge off the active effect of Satanic.
Interesting. That is not a mechanic interaction you see too often either, mostly because of, one, Satanic and Diffusal aren't particularly popular items, and also it's just the timing. It's a pretty small window you have, and you have to be on point, Diffusal at the ready, and pop it off. But the tools are there. An interesting item trajectory for Miracle, just hanging on to the casual Demon Edge for now, but it seems to be working for him. Still holding on to that top farming slot, 22k on net worth compared to the 17k of the Juggernaut and the Lycan as well. Yamate with another 4,000 gold up. He's had Assault Karas for quite some while. We'll see where he goes from here. I mean, a Necro Book still not out of the realm of possibility. What do you think makes sense for Lycan following the AC now?
I think Abyssal Blade is just too important at this stage in the game. You need to be able to get that hard lockdown, and the bash would be really good in general, but the active would be what you can actually use to bring down Gyrocopter at a relatively good pace. It's another thing where you hear the Satanic effect, you say, okay, well, if we're not purging it off, we might as well just stop him from attacking entirely, and that would be the Abyssal that you need for that. So I think that would be his next pickup, but Necro has its own merits as well. Brewmaster does pick up an AC to counteract the Lycans, though, so that's really good, as it will stay through the team fight on that Earth Panda, and my, do they need that negative armor.
Absolutely, and you're certainly right about the Lycan build. There's the Basher picked up straight away. 1,500 left, and we'll just be pulling up for the Relic. And yeah, that the Abyssal use becomes more and more useful as the BKB gets lower on Miracle. It's down to 6 seconds, and once it gets down to 4 seconds, that's a pretty significant duration of Magic Immunity that you end up getting stun locked if you're the recipient of the Abyssal Blade. So I think a smart choice for Titan. Good call there, my friend. Smoke from first departure. They'll move into the Dire high ground, and they want the wraparound to commence. But they won't find an easy opening. Juggernaut picks up his MKB right now. That is the item he commits to, and he will get initiated upon, uses the Blade Fury defensively, and will start to drag them out of position into the rest of Titan. They're just trying to bide their time right now. The Primal Split popped maybe a bit prematurely, but no, there's the long-range hookshot onto Ben. He'll get force-stabbed out of the cogs. Titan playing this so defensively right now. Earth Splitter flies through and does absolutely nothing. Net
Holy shit, that crit!
Ooh.
DD Lycan.
And Net still alive. Oh, wow, that Omni Slash flying through doing so much damage. He'll go into Miracle. He pops his BKB, stands his ground. There's the Satanic pop. Can they bring him down? The Death Ward lane into him, and he will fall. The Clockwork, the Shadow Demon, 4 heroes down, and it's a full 5 for nil exchange. Titan completely clean up the Radiant side, and now it's looking a bit disastrous for first departure. Sour timing to take a failed team fight as third Roche is up. Titan will get it, and they will go straight for the base.
That was the fucking GG rune right there. Double damage Lycan, 3-shot Elder Titan. I'm not even kidding. He took 2 swings, and he was at 10% HP.
Hot dog.
Those crits from the Shapeshift, absolutely insane.
Yeah, that was also just great initiation from Titan, or lack thereof.
They dragged it out so long. The Pandas didn't even seem to take any effect at all.
Yeah, beautifully done. The Juggernaut with a great Blade Fury, and the way that they just positioned it. It wasn't like, oh, Juggernaut's caught, quick, let's run to him. It was the opposite. It was like, Juggernaut, you got caught. Come to us, good friend. Buy some time. And he bought just enough time. Also, the Force Staff onto the Juggernaut was key. He was completely isolated, and that bought him the time to get off the Omni Slash and not only stay alive, but do a lot of return damage as well. Now the mid lane in trouble. Tier 3 tower falls. Glyph has already come out, and the Rax will just melt under the pressure of the Lycan Wolves and the Howl, of course. FD not out of it yet. They will respawn, and they want to contest. Hook shot out from Roshan. There's another Primal Split. Omni Slash bouncing through, doing a lot of damage to the Clockwork. And the Death Ward, that's what it's called, is back out. It's doing a lot of damage as well. Shadow Demon will get picked off. He does get interrupted. Compliments of the Tornado there. Earth Splitter does connect on 3, but the damage is just lackluster. They'll bring down the Pandas, and he gets killed by the Dire of all things, but he still falls, and that's what's important.
That practically sealed their fate here. Like, that movement was absolutely ridiculous. Without Miracle behind it, there's no real chance for kills, and they just cleaned house there. They do get the Death Ward. Aghadam's on cooldown, and it didn't do that much because Pandas don't get struck by the ward itself, but even still, it is just that this Rax is gone.
That's, I mean, it seemed like Titan were about to retreat. They seemed pretty happy with just the mid lane. I think they wanted to rotate top and get that tier 2 tower, but First Departure really didn't need to force the issue there. They were the aggressors by far, hopped way out of their base with the long-range hook shot, and to their demise. That was just a mistake in terms of strategy. Ben will take a Demonic Purge, Blade Fury away, but at this point, First Departure just are lacking in damage output. Again, a hook shot out of the base. Roshan, he's on a little bit of a suicide mission, I think, here. He will do some cogs. Titan kind of on the back foot. They're looking to retreat, but there is still some potential to take a fight. Ben has an ultimate back up. Net throws a paralyzing cask, and Titan will walk away pretty much not worse for wear. Everyone's still standing. Juggernaut will be topped off as he takes an earn charge.
Yeah, that last hook wasn't too bad because they really needed something here. They're practically in all-in mode right now. Like, they just lost 2 lanes of Rax. There's no way to long-term come back from that.
There was still a Ravage up, though. That's why he hook shots out.
Ravages, yeah.
There's a Ravage available. They're all still alive. There's an Omni Slash. Like, there's some big cooldowns there. If Titan wanted to turn and take a fight, I'm sure they, well, the Death Ward might not have cooled down quite a way, but whoa, there could be a potential turn. That is a Rapier. Oh, boys and girls, buckle your seatbelts. This is it. FD, they're all in. I like this. Shadow Blade now picked up on the Witch Doctor. Look at this. They have no detection. Oh, this could be crippling. Oh, boy.
Ravages, 1 Abyssal Blade, and an Invis ultimate Miracle with BKB #1.
Yep, there's the first Ravage. There's a Refresher. Miracle, he will fall. Where's the Rapier? It's still down on the ground. No, picked up by the Juggernaut. Oh, boy. That is pretty much GG. Yep, there you go. GG. Well, sort of an anticlimactic final fight, but Miracle just, he got juiced.
There's just too much disable. 2 Ravages, you have to BKB early. The Abyssal Blade, like you mentioned, takes out like half the duration of that immunity, and they have plenty of right-click damage to bring him down. That was terribly rough, but those last few fights as far as execution, I don't think it cost them the game, as opposed to they were already losing and just emotionally couldn't handle the pressure. They were like, okay, we got to do something, but everything they kept on doing kind of added fuel to the fire and made it worse, digging them deeper into a ditch. But yeah, that's going to be Titan pulling ahead. Although there was some great early game momentum from First Departure, some great farm from Miracle, in the end, their team fight just wasn't there, and Ohio, Net, Ben even really performed in those big 4 versus 5s.
Yeah. What an intense set of games. Only 2 matches today, but boy, were they some good ones. And I like the Rapier play at the end. Obviously, it sealed their fate after he fell, and it was kind of a long shot, but I like that they hung in there and they went for it. You know, Gyrocopter is one of the best Rapier carriers, if not the best. I guess he's up there with Medusa and Ember Spirit, but the damage he can put out is absolutely ridiculous. Could have been a pretty epic turn that would have made Reddit headlines, but alas, they fall. Juggernaut 9-0-8. Stand-in Ben on the side of Titan played one hell of a game as well. But that wraps up our coverage for today, Blaze. I was mistaken yesterday, of course. We have the break starting today. There is a 3-day break of Starladder SEA. I had my dates confused. But we will be off the next few days, and then we will be returning strong when Starladder SEA resumes, and then the other regions will start to pick up as well. I'm Zyori, solo in the studio still, at Zyori TV on Twitter, and my co-caster Blaze is at BlazeCasting. Both of those are in the title of this broadcast. Please give us some love on Twitter if you enjoyed the coverage today, and of course follow at Beyond the Summit to stay up to date with all things happening here in the studio. Speaking of the studio, In the Studio resumes today, 2 o'clock p.m. PDT, 5 o'clock Eastern, and I think that's 11 p.m. for those of y'all on Central European Standard Time. There was the announcement yesterday. Fear Dota going to be joining us to talk about his return. We're going to talk about roster changes, current events that we've missed, and today we'll be premiering open phone lines. Have you been dreaming of the day that you can call Beyond the Summit, ask us questions live on air? Well, then In the Studio is for you today, because that's what we're doing in the latter portion of the show. Hopefully y'all will come back and join us here. It gets started in, I can't do math this early in the morning, like 8 hours from now, 7 hours from now, In the Studio will get kicked off on the BTS channel. But thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you in a few days for Starladder coverage, Season 10.